Hi, hope you had a good week. Okay, we're in Perek Lamed Hey in Yecheskel. This Perek is a very interesting Perek, and it's very different than you would expect it to be. In the previous Perek, as you may remember, we have the very beginning of a different sort of nevuah. At the beginning we had, not at the very beginning, but the prakim before this, we're dealing with the ultimate revenge that Hashem will take against the nations, in order that we learn something from it. Then last Perek, we had the fate of the leadership that brought us to where we are today. And then we find ourselves back in this one Perek with the discussion of the nations again, which seems very out of place. So the various Meforshim talk about this, and they point out that this Perek, which talks about the fate of Edom, is different because Edom is different. Edom isn't just another one of the nations under which we suffered throughout the years of exile. The relationship between Edom and the Jews is something remarkable and something that requires a great deal of talk. So I want to give you a few introductory words about Edom. From one of the most puzzling things we have in Torah is Rivka's surprising silence about who Esav really was. Esav is, of course, the other name for Edom, his original name. Why didn't you just tell Yitzchak he's not what you think he is? Yitzchak thought he was something completely different. What did Yitzchak think and what did Rivka think? Yitzchak wasn't foolish. Yitzchak saw that Esav's nature from the moment of his birth, and Rivka knew this even before he was born, during the time she was within him, he was within her, that he was a person of this world. Okay, his name Esav means the complete one. He was born fingernails and eyelashes, and everything said this is a person who's ready to look at this world and take it on in its own terms. His ruddiness reflected his being born under Mazal Madim, the constellation of Mars, a warlike person, a person who will fight the battles of this world. What did Yitzchak see when he saw that? He saw what Esav could have been. He could have been like David. David's soul, like Esav's, was a soul deeply attached to this world. The midah of Malchus, of the ability to say, I'll make Hashem rule, Daf Gehir, is the lowest of all of the Sfirot, because it requires attachment to this dark place. So David was a warrior and Esav was a warrior. The difference is that David fought wars for Hashem, and Esav fought wars for himself. Now, what Yitzchak saw was that these traits could be holy and high and great, and because of that he favored Esav and gave himself to him. And the more you give, the more you love someone, because he wanted him to move beyond where he stood, and to learn to use his traits for the good. Rivka knew something that Yitzchak didn't know. Before Esav was born, she went to ask, what is happening here? And she was told that there are two children and that they're very different and they're going to be very different. And she heard V'rav Yavod Sa'ir, the elder will serve the younger one. So she knew that the one who's going to dominate is not going to be Esav. It's going to be Yaakov. The question would be, how could he serve Yaakov? So in an ideal world, Esav would be the one who elevates Gashmias and submits it and takes direction from Yaakov, who's the person of Torah. It would be perfect. Okay, but she also knew that one would always dominate, that they wouldn't work together. La'om mila'on yamot. So she knew. And she couldn't tell this to Yaakov because Yaakov wouldn't hear it. And also it was important that Yaakov get the brachas and that Esav also get a bracha. You know what bracha Esav got? Al charbacha techiyah. You live by your sword. Okay, meaning the way Esav serves Yaakov, and I want you to hear this because it's a deep idea. is by his opposition. So let's go back in Jewish history for a little bit. Esav was always at our throats, from the time of the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. Now, you could say, well, that didn't make us stronger, it made us weaker. No, it's not true. Opposition made us stronger. It made us define ourselves against the backdrop of who we aren't and what we don't want to be. Even today, one of the most effective tools of bringing Jewish consciousness to secular kids is taking them to Yad Vashem, taking them to the concentration camps. Now, arguably, this is not Jewish definition, but it's the beginning of definition. It tells us